When I wrote this, the first draft of this post that I'm going to talk about today, I was actually sitting next to a small stream, and there wasn't much water flowing through it because it's summer here in New Zealand, and we haven't had a good rainfall for like 60 days, and it's actually been very, very dry here in Auckland. But still, that trickle provided a small flow of water, and there was some kokapū, which are a small native New Zealand fish, and some birds came down and they were able to wash themselves and drink. And insects were sipping, I'm sure, but I didn't see any, but I'm sure there were. And I could actually see tree roots were sort of merged into the water, and they were drawing some sustenance. And the water was also being pumped out to some beautiful gardens and orchards that I look after, and also to some troughs where some very thirsty horses were drinking from. And now I was actually beside that water, and I was being replenished, and I had invited myself to be still and listen for the stillness of the flowing waters, something outside of my control. However, just 20 metres away from where I was sitting, there was a busy road, and it was early in the morning, and there were moments that all I could hear was cars and trucks carrying people to their day's work, to school, and to their busyness. And then quiet would return, and I could once again hear that trickle of beautiful water. I think we all need a place where we can listen to water. That may sound kind of strange, but I think it's probably one of the interesting things that we actually should sort of try and encourage in their lives. Perhaps it's a stream, or the lapping, just gentle waves on a beach. It could be a water fountain in a garden. And I've even been in an office where they've had like a little water fountain, just trickling water, and it was so relaxing. It was just to watch the movement and to hear the flow. In Psalm 23, David, who's a shepherd, he writes this: "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul." Now, David didn't write still water. He didn't write still water. He wrote still waters. You see, still water can be actually quite a dangerous place. It's a place where algae can grow, and weeds and all sorts of nasties can grow in very still water. A good shepherd would never allow his flock to drink from stagnant water. It just would be sick. His stock could get very unwell. David instead actually uses the word waters, which implies a movement of molecules of water, like there is a flow, even if it is unseen. And under the surface there's a current. And when it comes to an obstacle, the water, it moves around and over, and it wears down those obstacles. The water actually flows over those little pebbles and rocks and creates sound waves that reach our ears to hear. There is a rhythm, a wave vibration, and unpredictability to that music. Our brain is both strong and fragile. Sports such as soccer, football, gridiron, rugby, even my beloved cricket, blows to the head can cause long-term damage to the brain. Then some suffer concussion through knocks and bumps, a fall, a car crash, a walking into a piece of timber on the back of a truck, which is what I did yesterday, and you can see the bruise here. Ouch, and bruise, and painful. It was painful. But what about the concussion injuries on our soul and our heart that you might have experienced throughout your life? I was reading an article the other day about concussion recovery, and it gave 5 pieces of advice to how to rest your brain. Number 1 is to take time off work and or skill. 2 was to focus on one task at a time, so no multitasking, no switching. Number 3 was to limit yourself just to easy chores, nothing too strenuous. Number 4 was get in the passenger seat, so no driving. There's just too much concentration and effort required when you drive. Number 5 was relax with comfortable, simple hobbies. They were encouraging the reader to avoid activities that required demanding mental processes, such as reaction time, memory, or multitasking. It was an invitation to sit still by the still waters. I want to have more refreshing moments in my life where I can recover from the concussing effects of cell phone notifications, political debates, and being on the road above the stream. I want to sit with the water of life. And Jesus said this. He said, anyone who is thirsty, come to me. Anyone who believes in me can come and drink. Well, I want to drink. I want to drink of some still waters. And then he also said, anyone who drinks the water I give will never thirst, not ever. The water I give will be an artesian spring within, gushing fountains of endless life. And to get to that stream yesterday, I had to push through some trees. I had to climb a fence, and I had to find a patch in my time, where to sit. And to do that, there was an intentionality to seeking the water, seeking those still waters. Well, what can you do? I don't know where you live. You might live in a place where you easily can access some free-flowing water. It's quite achievable. But perhaps you might live in a desert place where it's dry and arid, and flowing water is challenging to find. You might like to find an app on your phone where you can sort of download and listen to water. It's probably not as good, but it's something. Or you might like to get like one of those little small water fountains for your home, where you can just watch and observe just water just flowing and the sound, beautiful sound it makes. I would encourage you, I'd really encourage you to pursue listening to still waters and just allow them to flow around the circuitry of your brain. You won't be short-circuited. Hey, mental health is finding time to rest, to sit and rest and be still by still waters. Let's run that again. Mental health is finding time to sit and rest by the still waters. Here's some quotes for you to consider. Thou hast made us for thyself, O Lord, and our heart is restless until it finds rest in thee. That's by Augustine. And in the inner stillness where meditation leads, which essentially is what we're talking about, the meditation of listening to water. In the inner stillness where meditation leads, the Spirit secretly anoints, there's a water word, anoints the soul and heals our deepest wounds. The brain takes its shape from whatever it rests upon. The brain takes its shape from what the mind rests upon. Rick Hansen. And some questions. Where are some still waters nearby that you could go and be still? What is the resistance you are facing when you think about the idea of being quiet and listening to the trickle of water? What's the pushback? Number 3, what is the noisy traffic in your life that may be concussing you? Hey, I hope you found this helpful, and I just encourage you to find those place of still waters where you can just listen and rest. And perhaps you might like to email me. It's barry@turningthepage.info. And perhaps you might like to support what we're doing here at Turning the Page, and that's quite easily done. Just come over to turningthepage.info/support, and you'll be able to see various ways in which you can support. Patreon is the most preferred way people would pick, and you can do that for like a US dollar per month. But most of all, I'd just like you to take this content and share it with others and learn from it yourself, and send me an email. I really do appreciate hearing from people who watch or listen or read the content we're putting out. Hey, thanks very much, and I just hope that you have a great week. Bye.